2023 was a challenging year for many, especially after the March 31st tornado. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Ashley Godwin. With the new year now hours away, THV 11's Rebecca Brown shares a story of overcoming setbacks to start 2024 with a celebration.
These lights are new, all new paint. We have a bunch of metal lights on the wall here.
For Travis Hester, a new year means new beginnings. He and his team are working around the clock to reach their goal of reopening Eat My Catfish in Breckenridge Village next month.
We're just excited about January 9th. I mean, to be back serving this local community that was devastated, and to be a focal point where they could come in and heal along with us.
It's been a long journey for Hester, the president of Eat My Catfish. The March 31st tornado took out the roof, caused leakage and extreme damage to the inside. But now, 10 months later, it's almost time to open the doors again, this time with a fresh start.
This is one of our older locations, so it needed a revamp. So we've added a lot of windows, a lot of light, and a lot of those windows look back across where that tornado came from. And so that's really cool for us to be able to see out there and the guests to be able to sit at a table and look out and not have to be a brighter location, but also just to be able to see again and kind of remember that day.
Hester says while they hit every setback in the book, material shortages, the insurance process, and the microburst in September, he's happy to be at the end of the process.
It was an emotional day for everybody involved, our neighbors, our team, and we just want to be there to support them just like they've supported us over the last, 10 months.
It's a lot of time and a lot of change, but people can expect the same food made with love. We've
been serving catfish now for 15 years as Central Arkansas, and we just can't make this community back serving them again. And I know they want to have that community spot, that meeting spot, where they can come back and have just a few minutes away from their houses.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. This last Saturday of 2023 was warmer than normal for much of the state this afternoon. We saw highs climb to the middle to upper 50s. For much of Central Arkansas, 59 was the high in Little Rock and Hot Springs. Pine Bluff not too far behind, reaching 58 this afternoon. Searcy, Russellville, a little bit cooler, more of the middle 50s, but still warmer than normal for this time of year. When you look back over the past several days, today was actually a peak. We did have a nice cool stretch after Christmas. As we look towards the first week of January, we've got some changes coming. As you see, a little bit cooler weather in the forecast. We'll be talking more about that coming up. But as for tonight, we're going to see some clearing skies, cold and frosty to start your New Year's Eve tomorrow with a low of 32. If you stay with us, I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in a few.
It's the season of giving, and this time of year, lots of families add furry friends to the household, but with that comes a lot of responsibility. As THV 11's Brooke Buckner shows us, as more animals get adopted, shelters are preparing to see some of them come back.
As these dogs wait for their forever homes, volunteers here at the Little Rock Animal Village know sometimes their next home is just temporary, an unfortunate reality they see pretty often this time of year.
After Christmas, around January, early February, some people are starting to return them, saying it's not working out or they don't have time for it. So we get a lot of returns.
Bernard Bracely with the Animal Village says they're thrilled to have so many adopted around Christmas, but it makes things a little challenging when they're returned.
That throws a lot of pressure back on us because we study constantly staying full, and we're trying to get the dogs out of here as much as possible.
More than 200 dogs are currently in the shelter, and that's even after the Animal Village has offered free adoption since Thanksgiving.
And we're doing everything we can to get them out. We're going to continue doing free adoptions all the way to the first of the year, so we can try and get as many animals out as possible.
In the last 2 weeks, nearly 40 animals were adopted, and Bracely says cats are going faster.
We haven't been able to keep any available cats. All our cats and kids have been coming as soon as they come to the door.
Bracely says part of that might have to do with cats being lower maintenance. The responsibility that comes with dogs is a big reason why so many people end up returning them.
And most people bring them back for like the simple stuff, like it ain't potty trained. Come on, give it a time. That takes some work for you to get it potty trained.
He recommends trying it out for at least 3 months before bringing the dog back.
Let them get used to you, let them the kids get used to it, and let's see how it works out before you just hurry up and return it.
In Little Rock, Brooke Buckner, THV 11 News.
Now, if you're looking to adopt a new pet, the Animal Village is offering free adoptions through the first of the year. A Benton County inmate facing historic charges after authorities allege he exposed 3 jail deputies to fentanyl. According to an arrest affidavit, David Blackburn was being booked into the Benton County jail last Wednesday. Deputies at the jail say they removed folded papers from his pocket and saw a white powdery substance come off of them. The report goes on to say one of them did not feel well and was administered Narcan. Some lawmakers around the country, including in Arkansas, say that even the smallest exposures to the synthetic opioid can be dangerous. Blackbird would be among the first people in the state to face charges for it since the legislature created the law earlier this year. In the final business hours of the year, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders makes an appointment to the State Board of Corrections. Governor Sanders will put Brandon Tillett on the Corrections Board, replacing outgoing member Whitney Gass. Tillett is the Director of Safety and Emergency Management at Ouachita Baptist University. Gass has been a critic of the governor and her plans to quickly expand the number of prison beds in the state. And that plan is at the center of lawsuits between the board and the governor over who gets the final say on those prison beds. The next hearing in those cases will be Tuesday. Now the countdown is on to 2024, but as many prepare to celebrate on New Year's Eve, law enforcement is focusing on safety at major events. That's especially true in New York's Times Square. This week, organizers have tested confetti as well as security protocols. Officials say there have been nearly 500 protests since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, including at major events like the Rockefeller Center tree lighting.
Those who want to peacefully protest, they have the right to do so, but you're not going to do it at the expense of disrupting those who are coming here to peacefully bring in a new year.
A law enforcement bulletin warns of a heightened threat of violence through the holidays, including at large gatherings like New Year's Eve celebrations. And as the New Year's nears, we look back at this year. 2 wars dominated international headlines in 2023, along with deadly earthquakes and climate concerns. Tina Kraus is in London with a look back at the top international stories of the year.
War rages in Gaza after Hamas launched an October 7th massacre in southern Israel, killing more than 1,200 Israelis and taking hundreds hostage.
We want our lovers back home now.
A temporary ceasefire in November saw the release of more than 100 hostages in exchange for more than 200 Palestinian prisoners from Israeli jails. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says more than 20,000 Palestinians have died in the war. Ukraine launched its much-anticipated summer offensive against Russia. The goal was to retake large swaths of territory, but after months of fighting and little gain, winter is setting in, and so is a stalemate. Massive earthquakes devastated regions in southeastern Turkey and northern Syria in February, killing more than 50,000 people. The climate crisis drove extreme weather around the globe, pushing up temperatures and delivering the world's hottest summer on record in 2023. Relations between China and the U.S. deteriorated when a suspected Chinese spy balloon was shot down over U.S. airspace. Months later, President Biden held a rare meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in California, where the pair pledged to resume military communications. 5 Americans were freed from Iran in a prisoner swap that included the U.S. releasing 5 detained Iranians and unfreezing $6 billion in oil funds. U.S. Army Private Travis King was charged with desertion after dashing across the border to North Korea from the south while with a tour group. Pope Francis began the year celebrating the funeral mass for his predecessor, Pope Benedict XVI, becoming the first sitting pope to preside over the funeral of a retired pontiff in church history. And a crowning moment for Britain's King Charles III, who waited 70 years to take the throne. Huge crowds packed the streets for the lavish coronation to honor the king and his wife, Queen Camilla. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
And one other headline overseas this year, Finland became the 31st member of NATO. Sweden has also applied to join the military alliance and has signed a defense cooperation deal that will allow the U.S. to access all the military bases across the Scandinavian countries.